No person shall disturb the peace by participating or abetting in any rude, indecent, drunken, riotous, or violent conduct, or the use of any vulgar, obscene, or abusive language in a public place. Note also, the performance of the song, F the Police, will not be permitted. Refusal to abide by all the Detroit City ordinances will result in immediate arrest and forfeiture.
Are we finished here? We got a show to do.
Just watch yourself.
You the dick. Fuck the police.
Straight out of Compton, it's a brother that was swimming your mother and make your sister think I'm lover. Dangerous, motherfucker racing hell. And if I ever get caught, I make bail. So what about the bitch who got shot? You think I give a damn about a bitch I am sugar? This is an autobiography of the E. And if you ever fuck with me, you get taken by a stupid dope brother who was mother. To the mother, straight out of Compton.
All right, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced here on StreamYard. The air date of this episode here is July 4th, 2025.
And Black them Lion. We double teaming them tonight. So we got your Black Enhanced on Tuesdays. We got Saturday, the Black Ophanim Lion TV for the Black Revolutionary Black Block Party. And tonight, we teaming up, y'all, with the Shabaka and Black Ophanim. Hashtag the resurrection of the mental dead. Happy F the Holice Day. And we got to get funds up for the studio costs, production costs. And until we can get another PayPal up on the screen, y'all, feel free to hit that Black Ophanim, $ Black Ophanim #1 and put on there production costs. We'll know what to do with it. All right. Black Power, Shabaka. Didn't want you to go into the Black, experience enhanced, because tonight is we teaming up. Black Power, brother. Yeah, just sitting in, making sure that we behave. He'll be in the background whooping our ass if we F up. Ain't that right? Yeah. Black. Okay. What's up?
And this episode is produced by Black Ophanim Line TV and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced collaboration. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to check out a story here out of Chicago.
Give them the date before we go too far, because this is a special one, y'all. Friday,
yes, July the 4th,
2024.
Okay. All right. So therefore, the topics we're going to be talking about is the 4th of their lives, Alligator Alcatraz. And I don't know if you're up on this one here, Joe, but boxer Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was picked up by ICE. And then we're going off into general conversation, as it flows. Okay. So therefore, today is the 4th of July, the air date of this episode. This episode is being pre-recorded, okay? All right, and so what is it? 200 and, 1776, 49 years ago, they had the Declaration of Independence, where they're supposed to have the freedom of speech or the First Amendment right, is that, you're supposed to be able to say pretty much what you want to say. But however, we do know they get very, very selective. Okay, so we're coming to you from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's roughly 20 minutes after 8 out here in the West, out here in Sin City. The temperature is a pleasant 98 degrees right now. You know what I'm saying? So, you got a wind chill of about 90, you know what I'm saying? And so, we're doing this here under fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act, for education, for passing knowledge, okay, and informing the public. I'm just paraphrasing it, but basically that's what the meaning is. Now, we're going to pull up a story here off the Chicago Tribune, okay? All right, and it says, this wasn't some random shooting. Police dig in after drive-by attack at River North album release party, kills 4, wounds 14 others. Okay, so we got pictures here. Late Wednesday night, assailants armed with at least one rifle rolled up outside an album release party. Okay, and now we ain't advertising, for this, is because now they got a block up on here trying to get us to purchase their newspaper subscription. We ain't doing it. So it's covering up the story, okay? So the cold part about it is, this is what I'm talking about. They got this clickbait up here, and then you got this ransomware right here, holding you for ransom to sign to this subscription to read the story, okay? But you would think, people, that this here would be something that they would just go on, okay? So I'm going to try it again, okay? All right. So therefore, this wasn't some random shooting.
If you can't, sorry, brother. Said get the other one if you can't get that one.
Okay, yeah, this is what I'm getting at right now. Okay, and then they got people's brands up here. We ain't mentioning that. They got to pay us. We don't mind sharing it, but you got to pay us. This wasn't some random shooting. Police dig in after drive-by attack at River North album release party that kills 4 and wounds 14 others. Okay. All right. And late Wednesday night, assailants armed with at least one rifle rolled up outside an album release party for a local drill rapper in River North and opened fire on the crowd gathered on the sidewalk. Within a matter of seconds, Police Superintendent Larry Snelling said the attackers were able to shoot an astonishing 18 people, killing 4 in a spot close to the center of the city as Chicago's preparing for the holiday weekend, playing host to a high-profile NASCAR road race. The shooting was amongst the city's worst in recent years and served as a warning that even violent crime has fallen in recent years. Gun violence, especially that fueled by rivalries in Chicago's landscape, remains stubbornly persistent. Shootings like these are a tragic reminder of how far, okay, oh man. Okay, they was preparing for the NASCAR race. The shooting was among the city's worst in recent years and served as a warning that even though violent crime has fallen in recent years, gun violence remains stubbornly persistent. Shootings like these are a tragic reminder of how far we still have to go, said Mayor Brandon Johnson said during a news conference on Thursday, calling the incident a cowardly act of hate. Well, Mr. Mayor, the way how you letting all those migrants going in there, man, getting taken away from our people, man, I think that's cowardly too. That's my opinion. City and state officials decried the mass shooting while calling it an isolated incident and asking citizens, to send in information to investigators. Okay, family members of those killed spoke out against further violence, saying that retribution won't bring back their loved ones. I don't want another death, said Andrea Williamson, whose son Devontae was killed and leaves behind a 3-year-old daughter. That's not going to bring my son back. I want the people who did it to get caught. Patrons were hit outside the Artist Restaurant and Lounge, which had been rented out for the private event, police said. Local rapper Mellow Bucks, whose name is Melanie Doyle, according to court records, had planned the party according to social media. Messages to Doyle and her attorney were not immediately returned. For the past 15 years, Chicago's drill rap scene has often been linked to fatal gun violence as rival artists with reputed gang ties trade insults and threats through their lyrics and social media taunts. Police officials did not offer a motive, citing the pending investigation, but said it was clear that the venue was targeted. Okay. Now, the point is what I'm getting at, and like for you gentlemen, to comment is that, look at what this damage does in the community. You see what I'm saying? And then on top of it, look what it does for the generations after. So what it is, Black family, what we got to do is we got to come together and build for ourselves, is because that's all what these other groups is doing, is building for themselves. And whereas the first place they want to come market their products and their brands and stuff like that is in the Black community. You see what I mean? So back to the 4th of their lives, okay. They're talking about everybody got the right to free speech, this, that, there, the other. Look at old boy you got up there in Washington, D.C., you know, who opened up the alligator Alcatraz. And to me, with him being a 34-count convicted felon, they ought to call Air Force One the jailbird, okay? So therefore, you got something called cruel and unusual punishment. Now, alligator Alcatraz, cruel and unusual punishment? What do you got to say on that there, Dynamite?
Oh, wait a minute. You skip that other one. I got Brother Pete on here, too. Black
Okay.
Power. Maybe he'd like to speak on that, or the subject about the shooting in Chicago. You know, or maybe he might have them for us that we wasn't expecting. You know, yeah, Brother Pete, yeah, you there?
My name is not right. He asked you to speak on what he was talking about.
Well, that's because he didn't know you were here.
You just transferred everything over to me without saying a word.
Oh man, you know how it is. You know, you got to pass the buck. Oh man, he didn't know you were here. I got to let him know you're here. Yeah. I've been talking too much anyway, you know, kind of preserve my voice.
Go ahead and answer his question, because I just got on here. I need to find out what that's all.
Oh, I mean, yes, brother. Yeah, you told me about the serve, man. So I think we're up to about $3,000 in fines.
Yeah.
I mean, I set up for 300 push-ups.
Oh man, now that's elderly abuse, brother. You know that. You know, I'm in my mid-60s, man. But however, though, I would try to knock out at least 10 of them, man, for tonight.
Yeah, I'll do the other 10. Yeah.
All right, so therefore,
Give him the subject. He just coming in. Give him the subject.
Wait a minute. Before you do that, Lightning,
yes.
Respond to his statement. Respond to his question.
Oh, I'm you know, you don't want it'll be like, man, you'll be falling asleep by the time I'm finished. And I'll be like, where you at? Ask the question again, brother. I mean, because we kind of went past one thing to it straight to.
But what can we do? Okay, but what can we do to try to prevent, you know, this black on black killings, particularly in the Chi, LA, the Bay Area, New York City, Philadelphia? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. I'm looking at this stuff. When I look at these news and this social media stuff, it looks like it has become the norm of the harm that we do to each other, as opposed to lifting each other up. Now, also, too, there's big business of what we do to each other. Now, let me show the businesses that it helps. One, it helps the morticians, okay. Two, the newspapers. Three, social media, okay, and mainstream media, you say. But as soon as we get up here to try to do something positive, you see what I'm saying? All of a sudden, well, there's something wrong with you black guys. How come can't you all just say that we're all the same? Y'all the same, huh? Well, if we all the same to OTBs, it's a pleasant 92 degrees right out here at 8:30 p.m. out here in Las Vegas. And, you know, tomorrow, man, you know, it might be about a good 110, 120. Let's sit out in the sun together for your OTBs. But guess what? You have to leave your sunscreen at home. Okay?
I got to answer the question, too, whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. So I just want to get that out there, is that they got to leave their sunscreen at home. But I'll tell you one thing, though, man, for man's delight. Now, we're not up here, you know, what they say there, womanizing, But have you ever seen a sister, man, put some of that suntan lotion and lay out in that sun, man, and how that pretty skin, man, gets even more enhanced? You know? Yeah.
Hey, you
Yeah,
owe me
so,
a question
so
now.
she ain't a sunburn, but what I'm saying is just add to the luster, you know, not womanizing, not
Not gonna,
objectifying women, you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? You know, because after all, these is heterosexual men that we have on here now. For those of you with your alternative agendas, you have your human rights and you have your civil rights. So we got to say that there in our disclaimer, although I'm not with that lifestyle. And please do not bring it to me. Okay. Right.
You tell him that a punk is one that uses a gun. It's a punk that uses a gun. It's a coward that uses a gun. What do you think that's going to do?
Well, that is going to bring more violence, you know what I'm saying, than his adversary is going to get a gun.
You really
And,
think?
you know, then when I
Because when I was coming along, when I was coming up,
yeah, but not everybody got guns, and it turned into the norm now, brother. You know, which is sad. You know.
Let me finish my statement.
Yes,
Okay.
I mean, yes, brother.
So you can understand the logic in what I'm saying. When I was, if you carried a gun, if you ran off the block, a real man uses his hands, and that's it. You know, you get out, you fight it out, and that morning, that evening, y'all on the basketball court shooting hoop. You got your disagreement. You got your disagreement. You fought it out, and both of y'all are alive. You got it. It's the messaging that you give. See,
and today is Independence Day.
Yeah.
Because, okay, now in 1776, what was that there? 250 years ago, 249 years ago.
We don't stop, Brother Pete. He got a flow going. He was saying something important about back in the day. You know, it's like you know, they put the guns in the trunk of the car and duke it out, catch a fade. You know.
Now, let me do this, okay? Back in the day, you duked it out, like he said, and that was it.
Right.
Today, you know, you got cats that are out here killing somebody simply because they said hi to their girlfriend. Okay? Shooting somebody simply because they look at their girlfriend's ass. If you didn't want your girl being like that, leave her at home. Why are you walking around? That's, you know, somebody gonna look at it, somebody gonna crack on. I want you to crack on mine because it shows me how my strength. It shows me how tight I am with my woman. Go ahead, knock yourself out. Let me step to the side. Do your thing. You know, shoot your best shot. You dig what I'm saying? Okay, because when she turned you down, that let me know that my stuff with her is what? Tight.
Reinforced.
But you got cats out here that are shooting over a female. Now, here's the dumb part about it. Here's the punk in the whole thing. You just got finished shooting somebody for looking at your girl. Now, one of y'all is dead. The other one is in jail. What do you think the girl's doing?
She's gonna find a third guy.
That's the stupidity in the whole thing. Yeah, and the third guy probably is your best friend.
Oh yeah. Now I always remember this here, gentlemen, and you heard me say this here too, Lightning. It takes 6 guys to carry a man to his grave, but it only takes one woman to put him there.
You know.
Second thing, like I said, it's in the messaging. Okay, you give an analogy of that message that the person that carries the gun is a punk. A real man ain't gonna stand up there and kill somebody, ain't gonna put his life away, he ain't gonna give his life away for somebody that really ain't gonna be there for him next month anyway. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, because you know, man, when you walk that concrete, man, you know what I'm saying? Yours truly included. You know, I call people up, hey, man, I need some on the books. Hey, man, I need some bail money. You know what I was told? Hey, you got yourself in, get yourself out.
Yeah, well, what we gotta do is understand a lot better. Like I said, if you carried a gun when I was coming along, you was a punk. You could have ran off the block.
Yep.
You could not show your.
You bet.
You used the gun. You couldn't fight with your hands. You couldn't now. You get off the block. We don't even. You barred. You can't see you. And guess what? The block that you was barred was is the block you lived on. You know, so you know what the message. It's the message that we send out to our people, to our youth, to our youngsters. You know, youngsters walk down the street. You know, I get youngsters coming to me all the time, salaming me, assalamu alaikum, and I look at them. I said, "Come here, let me holler at you about something." He come over, and I tell him straight up. I say, "Do me a favor." He said, "What?" I said, "Don't ever disrespect your God to what you did." What do you mean? When you salam anybody, you hitting me, you coming to me as a Muslim, you are salaming me, okay? But when you do that, you're also disrespecting your God because you got your pants hanging down off your ass.
That part. That part. That part. You know what I'm saying? That part right there. You know, and then on top of it, you got your drawers showing and all this old type of stuff, man. And I was in Oakland a few years ago, brothers, and I'm standing in the line, man, to get me a cup of coffee, man. I see this brother ahead of me, man. He's got his pants and, you know, his belt around his pants below the crack of his ass, man. You know what I'm saying? And of course, we all know what that implies, right?
Yeah, but it goes deeper than that too, because I tell them all the time. Say, dude, come on, man, you walking around with doodle stains in your drawers with your pants hanging all down off your head. I ain't got no. I said, can you see back there? You know, you got everybody looking at you. You think you're doing something cool. They laughing at your ass because you got shit stains in your drawers, bro. You know,
Yeah. I tell me
railroad tracks, they used to call them. Railroad tracks.
You can't
do the way you gotta tell it to them. You gotta let them know, dude, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm trying to tell you what's going on so you won't be disrespected.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, don't disrespect Allah by salaming me with your pants hanging down off your behind. Pull your pants up and then salam me. And believe it or not, they pull their pants up. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Walaikum assalam. Okay? And then they get behind that, and believe it or not, they even thank me for pulling that coattail to that.
Absolutely. And if I may say, Elder, as this here, I'm in Denver, Colorado one day, right? Trying to do some community youth work. So this must have been about 2008, 2009. So a white fella come up to me and says, you know, I don't mean no offense. And I says, well, okay. Now I know I'm preparing myself, man, because he's probably trying to offend you, but thinking that you don't know the difference, right? He says, hey, man, take the word sagging and spell it backwards. So what I did, like I'm doing right now here on this clipboard, right? I'm taking the word sagging. I'm writing it backwards, right? Here's what you got. Niggas.
Yeah.
Niggas. That part. And then a part that really kind of like made me upset with myself, but I didn't put myself down too much. I says, Why does a white man got to tell me that? You see? But where's the lie? You see what I'm saying? Where's the lie? You see? You know, and he just says, you know, not trying to be funny. Okay, so I gave him his props on that. I said, yeah, you're right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you're right. And that's why, man, when I go out here, man, and wear pants, I put a belt on, man, you know, like my utility pants, man. I don't sag. I put a belt on there so it don't sag. You see what I mean?
Enlightenment, let me let you know something. Let me let you know something. Oh, they cannot call it a free speech forum and then try to tell you what you can and cannot say.
That's why I'm pressing. That's why I'm pushing the envelope today. But it'll probably get took down because we put it on YouTube. Facebook is a little more lenient, but YouTube ain't. So yeah, it's all in if you wanted to stay up or not, and what you're really willing to risk. And I ain't willing to risk nothing.
So check it out and see whether it's called a free speech forum.
Oh,
if it is a free speech forum,
yeah,
they cannot tell you what you can and cannot say.
Good.
Now,
I hope not, especially tonight.
Listen.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
If they interrupt your program because you follow the guidelines of free speech forum, but they want to try to tell you what you can and cannot say, that is a lawsuit.
Oh, yeah. Violation of the First Amendment. He's right.
That's why we got the First Amendment pinned up on the page tonight.
No, but that's why we actually don't pay attention to what we're doing and what they're telling us what we can and cannot do. Instead of trying to find out to fight back, we just sit back and act like the typical slave on the plantation. Massa know what he's talking about. I don't. You know, Massa got the control. I don't. You know, instead of you realizing you have the control, because without you, Massa wouldn't even exist.
Right on, brother. I was like, well, what if you really was running from a cop or something? You couldn't jump over the fence, you know, and you know, I had him jump back and forth, and he had to put a belt on, you know, and then like doing a kick or something like that. You can't kick with the pants hanging down. You definitely can't kick, and you definitely can't run like a baby in a diaper. That's for sure. So it's best to have on a belt and keep it gangster. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I want to put that in there.
Try to avoid conflicts, you know, when you can.
Yeah.
Because you got people who like to go out there and instigate.
Well, I'm saying if they want to jump.
They were the final moments of a foot chase. Body camera videos obtained exclusively by CNN show how it ended with the Chicago police officer shooting an unarmed 13-year-old who was running from a stolen vehicle and who lawyers and some witnesses say had his hands up. The 13-year-old's attorneys say the teen was trying to surrender. The officer's attorney says in a split-second decision he thought the teen's cell phone was a gun.
Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah.
That was the reaction of the officer next to the shooting officer after shots were fired.
Is anyone hit? Is hit?
Shortly after, two officers grabbed the 13-year-old who had just been shot by his sweatshirt and legs and carried him away from the gas pump where he was laying.
They drag him with no regard for this young man, pull him like a rag doll away from the pump to another area after he had already sustained a major injury to his back.
They're supposed to value the sanctity of human life. There was no value here. Officers believe they likely struck those gas pumps.
Chicago police later said they were concerned a gas tank might have been hit by gunfire and could explode. The shooting officer, Noah Ball, didn't have his body camera activated until roughly 40 seconds after the shooting, as he asks another officer if his is on.
Is the camera on?
Ball's camera being off was inadvertent, his attorney told CNN, but inexcusable, the teen's attorneys say.
So the suggestion that, hey, maybe this was just a temporary absent-mindedness because he was involved in a pursuit, they know that they're supposed to engage their cameras, and it's up to them to do it.
The 13-year-old was a passenger in a suspected stolen car when officers tried to stop it. Police say he jumped out and started running. Then, right as he turns and appears to raise his hands, he's shot at least once, leaving him now paralyzed from the waist down, his attorneys say. And for you all, at least, it's clear that his hands are up.
His hands are up. There was no justification for the officer to shoot.
And he was unarmed.
Clearly unarmed.
And at least some bystanders on the scene
we're still here.
agree. One witness who didn't want to be identified said,
His hands was up. I seen the cop run right up to that boy.
Okay.
It's just
all right. Yeah,
but the attorney for the shooting officer is looking less at where the hands were and more what he says his client thought was in them.
That's why
Attorney Timothy Grace wrote to CNN in part, Officer Ball reasonably believes that the object being pointed at him was a firearm and ended up being a cell phone. But Officer Ball had to make a split-second decision as he had no cover and no concealment. He discharged his service weapon to stop the threat. The teen's attorneys argue he was trying to surrender and that the pursuit shouldn't have happened in the first place.
There's been no charges against him. He was in a stolen vehicle and he ran away.
They got one set of rules for them
that warrant being shot in the
and
back
another set of rules.
If all you need,
you know what I'm saying,
is to have someone flee from the police.
Where is this justice at? You say, where is this justice at? You know what I'm saying? And it ain't no justice for us. Just say, there ain't none for us. And then the cold part about it is, this is why you had those who had stated that separation just might be the key, just say, of what we need, to maintain ourselves. Just say. And then if y'all can hear me.
It is time for you and me to hear for ourselves, and it is time for you and me to fight for ourselves.
As a young man, Malcolm was a convicted criminal, but he transformed his life by studying, learning, and evolving. As a member of the Nation of Islam, Malcolm urged Black pride, self-determination, and most importantly, unity.
Today, the white man calls us the Black Muslims not because we are Black people who are Muslims, but he tries to make it look like we are Black Muslims, something distinct, separate, and apart from the Muslims in Africa and Asia.
Today is Malcolm X Day, the 100th anniversary of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X, born May 19th, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska.
Because the number one tactic that the white man has always used when he wanted to suppress and oppress and exploit has been divide and conquer. Anybody that opposes your freedom is a devil. Anybody that opposes justice for you is a devil.
Many whites and blacks shunned Malcolm while he was alive, labeling him too radical and an advocate for racial violence and hate.
You've said, Minister Malcolm, you have to expect the Negroes to rise up sooner or later.
Oh, yes.
What does that mean?
I think every oppressed people, no matter how meek and humble they are, after you drive them so far, they're going to strike back.
Well, does that mean that you expect to organize battalions of...
Black Ophanim Lion TV in the house. What's happening? We up in here, the Black Ophanim Lion TV studios, ready to get it on to the break of dawn. Y'all know what's up. Hit the Cash App. Yeah, it is time for for the Black Ophanim Lion TV.
So, in regard to that clip there from Malcolm, is that he said it over 60 years ago, but it's still true to this
doing
day.
a sound check right now, getting it ready. Y'all know.
Okay, brother. You keep talking with the music. Sound good talking with the music.
Yeah, and you see, so therefore, man, is that what he said back then was correct, and what he's saying today, and this even applies even more so
Giving you
today.
more what you lock and load to
You
the
see?
radio for.
And then we just have to build up off of it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to build up off of it. You see? And this is why we were doing this recorded episode tonight, and keep sharing them.
Yeah, it's just a little
so
sound
that
check.
other individual,
See if we can record this little piece to say, if y'all want to support us, get one of these T-shirts, Black Ophanim Lion T-shirt, and also your.
To do whatever is necessary to protect life and property where the black American is concerned. So my contention is that whenever a people come to the conclusion that the government which they have supported proves itself unwilling and or proves itself unable to protect our lives and protect our property because we have the wrong color skin, we are not human beings unless we ourselves band together and do whatever, however, whenever is necessary to see that our lives and our property is protected. And I doubt that any person in here would refuse to do the same thing were he in the same position. Or I should say, were he in the same condition.
Yeah. So, you know, that part right there. And then, too, is that we could do it in particularly.
And I say, my point, that as long as a white man does it, it's all right. A black man is supposed to have no feelings. So when a black man
And you see, and what he's saying there,
to sit passively and have no feelings, be nonviolent, and love his enemy, no matter what kind of attack, be it verbal or otherwise, he's supposed to take it. But if he stands up and in any way tries to defend himself, then he's an extremist. No, I think that
but
the
also
speaker who
too,
preceded me is giving exactly what he asked for. My reason for believing in extremism.
All right. Any closing statements?
Yes, sir. Okay, what it is basically what the brother was lecturing way back then, man, over 60 years ago, man, was black self-sufficiency. Now, the irony of what he's talking about is right, but the irony is that all these other groups who got these so-called civil rights at our expense, you know, man, they.
I like what Malcolm was saying. I like to elaborate on it too about is basically when they do it, it's okay, and when we do it, it's a problem. So basically, that's why we're doing the First Amendment right for the 4th of July, which is appropriate. You know what I mean? Appropriate. Right. Which is to say, you have the First Amendment right to. Let me read it. Actually, put it back on the banner. Wait, what happened? Okay, hold on. Where is it? Would you like to read that, Shabaka? Because I know you got it right there on the ticker tape. Well, I'm gonna put it on the ticker tape. Same time. Hold on.
Yeah. Put it on a ticker tape. Yeah, because
the First Amendment.
Yeah.
First Amendment.
Yeah.
make no law. I can read that one. First Amendment. The First Amendment. Congress shall not. Well, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or what's that? What's that word? Huh?
Yeah, they should make no law abridging the right of free speech or the right of the press. Now, the problem with the press, okay, since it evolved off into a business and corporate entities,
the right of
conglomerate.
Yeah, or the right of the people, and we the people, you know.
Exactly, the freedom of speech, right? But with the press, since 1776, okay, the press has evolved off into a business. So what's happening is, with it being evolved off into a business, like once again I said about the microeconomics and the macroeconomics, okay? Then you got these publishers who owns the press, and I'm talking about even with your major newspapers today, the New York Times, Chicago Sun-Times, San Francisco Chronicle, San Jose Mercury News, Denver Post. You see what I mean? It's a business, and they are not going to print anything that's not making them no money. You see what I'm saying? I call it the science of journalism. Every time you open up a newspaper these days, in these contemporary times, meaning what's happening now, the main thing you see in there, brother, it's not no news. Just like what you see on here on the internet. The main thing you see ain't no news. No, it's somebody trying to sell you something. You see what I'm saying? So they're trying to sell you something. Now, they up here try to tell you, well, man, subscribe to our newspaper. You got to pay for the newspaper. So what happened to quote unquote freedom of the press? So in other words, gentlemen, what I'm bringing up here is the concept of hypocrisy right here. But they don't never ever want to address that issue. And then on top of that, I want to blend into the young man over there in Burkina Faso. Okay. You seen him in the news, you heard of him. His name is Ibrahim Traore. Now, you will see him on the internet news, but you don't see nothing on him like on mainstream news, like Fox News or CNN News. But reading about him, you know, is that Trump don't dig it. It's because what he's talking about, man, is making the country of Burkina Faso economically independent. Now, they had another president in the 1980s who was killed by the name of Thomas Sankara, who was trying to do the same thing to make the nation economically self-sufficient, commercially, industrially, and agriculturally. You see what I mean? Okay. And this is a young man. He's only 35 years old, by the name of Ibrahim Traore. So quite naturally, of course, you know, they're trying to paint him off real bad. You see what I mean? And then getting off here into alligator Alcatraz. You see what I'm saying? Is that Trump, you know, is taking this money, building up this place, this detention center in the Florida Everglades, which is alligator, snakes, all kind of, how should we say, predatory critters, right? Now, if Trump wants to set the example of alligator Alcatraz, he's already been convicted of 34 counts, 34 felonies. So it seems to me that Trump should lead by an example and turn himself into alligator Alcatraz. He could still be the president, but you're just in a rightful place of being a convicted felon, but you can still be the president. So that's the irony of the situation. They say, and I got another word for it too. It's called hypocrisy. You see what I mean? You know, here you are, 34 count convicted felon, gets elected, you know, as the president, but then they want to sit up there and tell us, well, you know, the black community is full with a bunch of criminals and you guys need to go to jail and things of that nature right there. Okay. And let's see here. Okay. You back on, Lightning?
Yep. Black in the house.
Oh.
Black on the scene.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is Brother Pete with us?
Yes, sir. I mean, I'm not sure. Pete, Brother Pete, you there?
I'm still here.
Earth to Pete.
Okay, yeah, we're still here. Yeah, we still hear him up there. Okay.
Right on.
So okay, so with Alligator Alcatraz, they said it's gonna be ready real quick. And they're gonna be putting, these people that they are exporting out the country in there. Now, here's something I found kind of interesting. Earlier today on mainstream media, Jailbird was talking about that he's going to deport some of these people to the South Sudan. Now, I have not heard nothing about the South Sudan saying that they're willing to take these people. You see what I mean? So wouldn't that be an invasion on their sovereignty if he was just to go over there and drop these people off over there in the South Sudan? And keep in mind, the South Sudan and the Sudan as a whole has a severe history of being very, very warlike over there. So with them being warlike, I really don't think that they're going to appreciate, the Jailbird, putting them over there. Isn't that interfering with their sovereignty, don't you think?
Sudan is in a war now.
Huh?
Sudan is in a war now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been in war, man, about for the last 8 years that I know of. You see, because you get these proxy wars that they launch over there. So therefore, the Europeans and now the Chinese is there, and the U.S. to go up there to exploit the raw materials. And the raw materials that you got in your laptop, cell phones, things like that, you see what I mean? It comes off the continent. You see what I'm saying? And then when I be trying to relate this here to individuals, then you have these other individuals who call themselves FBA saying that don't have nothing to do with us. They say. And then also too, the son of former boxing champion Julio Cesar Chavez has been picked up by ICE. And this would be Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. You see what I'm saying? So, what's up with that? And then you had old Hakeem Jeffries get up there in his nice, well-tailored suit yesterday, got up there and filibustered, you know what I'm saying? And they still went on and passed his Trump's agenda anyway. So it was a waste of time. You see what I mean? It was a waste of time. See, it was a waste of time. For them to even get up there and deal with that. So what I suggest that we do as the people is that this is the more reason we got to build our own industry to accumulate capital. So therefore we can go buy the politicians, for our self-interest. And next year, as a matter of fact, at the congressional level, okay, this year you're gonna have a lot of municipal elections. Some state offices and what have you. You see what I mean? And we just have to, show up ourselves, people. That's what we have to do. I mean, man, we can't be going out here, campaigning for these other groups, man, when they don't campaign for us. You see? Because we got a whole lot of work to attend to in our own house. You see? Mm-hmm. A lot of work to do. Comments, please.
Hey, this is Joe. I can't sound like no hypocrite. Like as I'm speaking right now, I'm building a gun from scratch and preparing my little guys for war. So I really ain't got no comment.
Right. Yeah. Because self-preservation, man, you got a right to live, man. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what you got to say about that, Lightning?
Because nobody wants a fair fight. If you give someone a fair
Yeah,
fight, you're
exactly.
already losing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
But
with all these firecrackers going on out here, man, I wonder if they're having a shootout out here, man. I'm hearing it sound like gunfire. I hear everybody blowing up these firecrackers. They say, so therefore, another thing that they said in the first 10 amendments that the people had the right to establish a militia, right?
yeah,
And
they'll put it down just over a cuss word, and but they really want to put it down because of the message, you know. So we ain't even
exactly. So they were used. So not stepping on your lightning, but they would use the cuss word as an excuse to kill the message.
Exactly. That's why, guys, let me put that thing banner back up on the screen because I had the banner on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got preserved network so we can keep on getting up. That's why I'm a stippler on even that. Yeah. Oh, let me get it. Where's it at? Damn, I can't. I'm having a problem with this system. That's why we need all the donations we can get so we can get a real system up in here. Man, I ain't messing around. We got to get boards. We need cameras. They got cameras over the the man was doing the racetrack and he was filming it, and they told me where they go live broadcast and they got the big cameras and I started investing. I started investigating them, right? So I got these little cameras and they work okay sometimes they don't. So hey, we gotta go up, and that's but now hit the Black Ophanim, $ Black Ophanim #1. Yep, that's the Black Angel #1, Black Ophanim. Yep. Well, Black is BLACK, and Ophanim is OPHANIM, and and the #1 behind that, because I'm the only one. It ain't gonna be like number 3006 or nothing like that. But those are good numbers too. I like, you know what I'm saying? Now that I think about it. Yeah, speaking to Black Ophanim Lion TV from the Lion's Den tomorrow for the Black Revolutionary Block Party. That's just jamming, some music. And some current topics as they happen, and boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Like the president of Iran again. I'll let y'all know because we'll have our finger on the ticker tape. Me and Shabaka. That's Joe.
Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna go up here and end this recording right here. And then too, please go ahead and share it, because we rebuilding over here. Okay, so this is Shabaka Sankora for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced and Black Ophanim TV, and appreciate you gentlemen joining us this evening. Okay?
Black Lion TV. Yeah, Black Ophanim Lion TV, which is good to go. Tomorrow.
All right.
What about you, Brother Pete, Brother Joe? Closing in to jump.
Stay strapped and get clapped.
Heard that.
That's right. That's right. Like the referee says, protect yourself at all times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And body armor. Body armor. Body armor. Today
delivered to your front door in 48 of the states. So it's no reason not to have. It's definitely no reason not to have armor. Even if you can't own no gun, man, get you a vest. Nobody finna fight you. I'm gonna shoot you.
Yeah, something to preserve your well-being because it's your human right, your manly right, and your God-given right to protect yourself at all times. So in this here, we rebuilding over here, and we're ironing out a lot of wrinkles. So this platform ain't gonna do nothing but get better and better over time. So please share the episode, share it to all your social media, and we're signing off from Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, and we appreciate you all coming in.
Yes, all right, brother. Black powerful.
Always. We done. Absolutely.